As darkness fell across Europe during the Second World War, a different kind of war began. It was a war fought not in blazing daylight skies filled with contrails and formations, but in silence, in shadow, and often in isolation. High above blacked-out cities and burning industrial centers, German night fighter crews climbed into the darkness, searching for enemies they could not see. Among the many branches of the wartime Luftwaffe, the Nachtjagd, the German night fighter force, would become arguably its most consistently effective arm. Throughout most of the war, it took a steady and often deadly toll of Allied aircraft, the vast majority of them bombers of Britain's Royal Air Force. Yet this force did not emerge from enthusiasm or doctrine. In fact, the very existence of a defensive night fighter arm stood in stark contradiction to the ideology of the Third Reich. Nazi leadership envisioned the Luftwaffe as a purely offensive weapon, a symbol of speed, aggression, and dominance. Defense was seen as weakness. The creed demanded attack, advance, and destruction of the enemy on his own soil. And yet, reality intervened. The men who formed the nucleus of the Nachtjagd were largely drawn from the Zerstorer units, the twin-engine heavy fighter crews originally intended to spearhead offensive operations. Many of them believed that reassignment to night fighting was little more than punishment. At a time when Germany stood confidently poised to strike England, when glory seemed to await in daylight combat against the Royal Air Force, these fully trained crews were diverted into what appeared to be a secondary, even undesirable role. But then came the Kanalkampf, the campaign over the English Channel, and soon after, the prolonged and disastrous Battle of Britain. As losses mounted and the promise of swift victory evaporated, many Zerstorer crews came to a sobering realization: transfer to the Nachtjagd may well have saved their lives. Meanwhile, RAF Bomber Command intensified its operations. British bombers, Blenheims, Whitleys, Wellingtons, and Hamptons, began crossing into German-occupied territory and eventually deep into the Reich itself. To the crews of those aircraft, flying into flak-filled night skies over hostile cities, the danger felt overwhelming. Yet from the German perspective, the task of intercepting and destroying these raiders was far from simple. Early night fighting was primitive, uncertain, and fraught with difficulty. Success depended not only on the pilots in the air, but also on the coordinated efforts of men on the ground. Searchlight crews probed the darkness with sweeping beams. Anti-aircraft batteries fired into the night, hoping to catch bombers silhouetted in light. Gradually, through trial, error, and costly experience, the system improved. The real transformation came with technology. As Bomber Command expanded and introduced more capable aircraft, German night fighters were equipped with airborne interception radar. This innovation revolutionized the struggle. No longer entirely dependent on visual contact or searchlight illumination, crews could now detect enemy bombers electronically in the darkness. The chances of achieving what they called a sure kill increased dramatically. And yet, even at their peak efficiency, the defenders faced harsh mathematical reality. Rarely were they able to inflict losses exceeding 10% of the attacking force. That meant that, night after night, wave after wave of bombers still penetrated German defenses. Under the British War Cabinet's area bombing policy, entire cities were subjected to sustained devastation. Hamburg, Cologne, Berlin, the industrial heart of the Reich, felt the weight of destruction. By day, American heavy bombers added their own relentless pressure. Together, the combined Allied air offensive slowly but steadily eroded Germany's industrial capacity. Production faltered. Infrastructure crumbled. Resources dwindled. The Luftwaffe found itself fighting a defensive battle of attrition, one it had never been designed to wage. Within this harsh environment, the Nachtjagd produced its own elite. Like other branches of the Luftwaffe, it developed its experten, highly skilled aces who rose above the rank and file. These men did not achieve success alone. Central to their effectiveness were their Bordfunker, radar and radio operators whose calm precision guided aircraft into firing position in complete darkness. Night fighting demanded extraordinary coordination. Pilot and operator functioned as one. A mistake meant collision, spatial disorientation, or sudden death in unseen skies. But even the most skilled crews could